How's it going, everybody? It is I, Jackal, and I'm back with another video for a pleb's perspective in regards to Diablo IV. In my last video, I did mention that you share items across characters, but I'm going to go ahead into a little bit more nuance in regards to what that means based off of what I've seen in the beta. So basically, when you make a character, whether it be softcore or hardcore or standard hardcore, whatever, your characters share items and buffs. If you notice, if you find an altar of Lilith or get the renown for the world buffs by, discovering other locations and whatnot, you'll see that it says something along the lines of unlocked for all characters on this realm or in this realm. Something along those lines, right? But what it doesn't explain is what it means by realm. I have since figured out that by realm, it means is that it's associated to the mode that you picked, not the difficulty, not the world tiers, not normal, veteran, nightmare. That's not what it's about. It's about whether you chose to go in softcore / standard or if you chose hardcore mode. Those are the realms. I found this out because the first character I played in the first beta, I got him to level 25 and I found all the altars of Lilith, got the full renown that you can get. I had thought that all the other characters would get this buff, but I was wrong. When I started the new games in this last beta, the open beta, I went into hardcore mode, but none of them had the buffs. Not even the items were shared across the characters. I had logged back into my old character to see if my items were still there and if the buffs were still associated with that character, and they were. They were still available to me in that mode, but in hardcore, it was all gone. So what this means is that if you spend all the time grinding away in standard mode, it isn't going to transfer over to hardcore mode. It's going to stay in standard and you're going to have to redo the process completely for hardcore mode. So that might sound like a buzzkill, but when you think about it, it makes sense, because why are you going to allow people to go the easier route, unlock everything in the easier route to make hardcore mode easier, much easier? If you know what I mean? Imagine completing the campaign, 100%ing it in standard in the softcore mode, and you start up a hardcore character and you have this huge advantage that you didn't work for in the hardcore setting. So it does make sense that there is that sort of distinction between the two. That said, in my previous video, I talked about working with necromancer or sorcerer to go ahead and grind away the buffs and the items for your hardcore characters. You're definitely going to want to do that. Choose the most OP classes, use them, go for it, and then come back, use the other classes that you want. So a few things that I noticed that weren't explicitly mentioned anywhere in any of the tutorial or whatever, anything that I read, heard, watched, anything. I don't know if this is a thing that's in all Diablo games or if it's in all ARPGs, if it's this way. Again, this is a pleb's perspective. I'm new to the genre, but if you're like me and you're also new to the genre or new to Diablo, maybe it doesn't exist in other games, but in Diablo currently it exists, in that all your resources that you've gathered transfer over. Resources in the sense of the murmuring orbs or whatever they are, gold, material, so like the scraps that you salvage, as well as the herbs. All those things also transfer over, as well as the buffs and items that you store in your stash. They also carry over to your other hardcore characters. So you don't lose everything, and you actually have a huge incentive to come back and make new characters that are even stronger and more prepared and maybe could grind things a little bit faster. So that's something that I feel like is a huge win as far as appealing to a mass audience and the casual player base. It's like a double-edged sword type of thing, whereas you're severely punished when you die because you lose your character, but you keep all the resources. Obviously there was no PvP, so we don't know about the red dust if that carries over, but if any of the other stuff is any indication of what is going to be carried over regardless of character death and whatnot, it's safe to assume that the red dust will carry over. And if you don't know what red dust is or whatever the fuck it's called, it's basically something that you get during PvP. The mechanics I haven't really dove into because I was more focused on the single player, because that's what we had for the beta, so I didn't even pay attention to the PvP. But essentially you play PvP based on kills or wins or whatever. Hello there, it's Jackal here from the future. Ignore what my dumbass was saying at this point. Feel free to pause the video and read this little paragraph. But yeah, so that's it. Okay, bye-bye. it, like I didn't notice it the first time around, but this time around when I went ahead and started up the game, multiple times after dying in hardcore mode, I found that my starting gold balance and material balance was ridiculously high. I remember at one point I died and the new rogue character that I made had over 30,000 gold literally right off the bat. And then I was like, what the fuck? Like, how did I have what is this? And so then I opened it up, looked at it. I was like, where did this come from? I was like, is this right? And I checked the materials, the herbs, and it was still there. Like, I had hundreds of the bite berries and whatever the fuck other shit, the hollow moss. Like, I had a bunch of them. So you can at least rest a little bit easier if you die in hardcore mode, that not everything is going to have to be started from scratch. Your new characters will have the resources that your old character had, and based off of this knowledge, it's safe to assume that if you have a higher level hardcore character and maybe you want to grind things out but you don't want to put them at risk, you can start a newer character, grind more gold, grind more things out, and then your newer character can safely upgrade and this and that and the other, get stronger. You have this thing where your stronger character is kind of setting your weaker characters up for success initially, but then your weaker characters help bring in that extra bit of gold that your higher level character might need, but you don't want to risk going into events or dungeons with them because of whatever reason. We don't know what the end game is going to look like, so you can have a lower level character sort of be more at risk and get gold and herbs and stuff. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit more of a grind. It's not going to be as fast. Like, one quest is not going to do nearly enough for a high level character, whereas a high level character doing one quest is going to, gold wise, I'm speaking just gold wise, one quest for a low level character, let's say, gives you 1,000 gold, right? Whereas a higher level character, one quest, depending on the level, could give you 10,000 gold. Obviously, doing the one quest is going to be far greater the higher the level you are, but you don't want to put your other character just at risk quite yet, and you just need a little bit more. It kind of gives a little bit of a safety net, if you will, in that you don't have to always put your high level character in harm's way. So to summarize, Altars of Lilith, renown bonuses from finding shit, gold, herbs, salvaged items, found items, that you just find in the world, loot basically. Oh, and cosmetics. They all are shared across all characters within the same realm, and realm equals hardcore or standard. So that's essentially what it is. Quick note on the cosmetics. It does appear that the cosmetics carry over regardless. That is one thing I forgot to explain. The cosmetics that I found with my standard level 25 character, they were all available for my hardcore characters. I did not have to salvage any extra shit to unlock new cosmetics. I don't know if that's supposed to be that way, but it currently is that way based on the beta. Just keep that in mind if you want to salvage standard shit and go crazy if you're gonna go hardcore, because you'll find better shit in there anyways. That's basically it. Yeah. All right, toodles. Like, fuck, I guess that's my tagline.